Howdy folks, welcome back to another Members First deck profile. I know we're a day late, that's my bad. I have not updated my Diaboro deck yet, like I know people were requesting for in our members post. I will do my best to get you guys a list for that. In the meantime, if you are interested in Diaboro stuff, I know at the very least our good friend Will, that's in our Discord, he plays Diaboro and he's a very good Diaboro player. You can add, I think his tag is like Remnant or something like that, but if you like at Will or at Remnant, you can find him there in our Discord to ask him about Diaboro deck questions until we get something up on the channel. If we do, it depends. I have a very busy week ahead of me. I'll try my best. In the meantime, though, I'm gonna bring you guys red base Gaiomon. I thought about going with black base, but realistically, I think red base is just more viable. Black base is really fun, but you don't. It's black base just still is like missing a few key pieces to make it really, really good. I think that there's a really good chance that with the new cards coming in EX10, the new Greymon and the Metal Greymon that we've had revealed so far, that black base has an actual better chance of doing things. But even then, it's still just like defensive playstyles just aren't like super rewarding unless you have some big explosive payoff like Eaters, for example, or Royal Knights, stuff like that. And even then, a lot of those decks nowadays have like good means of middle aggression. So red base is just what I'm going to go over. Before I jump into it, though, just want to say a quick thank you to all of our members for supporting the channel, for helping us boys out and you know, taking good care of us. We appreciate you. Hopefully you guys are enjoying all this members first content that we're bringing to you guys between the deck profiles and deck check. And if you want more stuff, let us know. We are still planning on doing the streams as well. It's just life's been crazy busy as it always is. It's just how it goes. And to anyone who sees this video when it goes public, thank you for checking it out. If you enjoy the deck profile, consider hitting the subscribe button, sticking around the channel. Maybe give the video a like if you liked it so much. That'd be pretty cool. It tells the YouTube algorithm we're doing the right thing, and we appreciate seeing the little like, thumbs up stuff because it makes us feel good in the brain, gives the dopamine. But without further ado, that's going to be it there. Let's go ahead and jump in the profile. So, starting things off, we run 4 copies of the BT-5 Coromon. There is still decent merit to running BT-14 Koro, but realistically, because you're playing aggressive, having the draw one on the attack rather than waiting for security to get checked is really, really good. I actually had this, someone mentioned this in the comments, and I hadn't really thought about it like that, but it's a good point. Being able to get that draw one during the swing, as opposed to waiting for like the security to get checked, can actually be really, really important for certain effects. So it's just really nice just to have it. It would mostly be more important if we had something like BT-22 antibody in here, which you can very well run, but there's just not much of a reason to, realistically. And I'll kind of go over why as we get there. But yeah, you have most of the tools you really need to kind of to do what you want to do. But yeah, that's why we run him, just for the extra draw one, just for the initial attack, so we don't actually have to get the security chip going. And because we have so many things with Greymon and name, we don't have to worry about you know, any sort of just like generic stuff. Jumping into rookies, we run 11 rookies total. Starting off, we run 3 copies of Agu X. Just a good search. Finds X anybody, finds Omni, and then something with Greymon or Omnimon in name. Just really, really good. We run 4 copies of the BT-14 Koro. This Koro is actually really, really important because we have so many ties in the deck. I know 3 isn't like a crazy amount, but you typically find them pretty quick. It's just really good to be able to kind of skip that initial Evo cost. You don't necessarily need the X anybody in stack to work all the time. You just need to be able to go into Greymon. So being able to go into any of your Greymon that you have available is just really, really helpful just for skipping that Evo cost and getting stuff down. So really, really nice. And then plus 2k inherit's really important. We want as much DP as possible, so that way any DP reduction that happens, anything like that, just we want as much DP in the stack that we can possibly get. And then we run 4 copies of the BT-12 Agu. Still just like the best generic searcher for Greymon decks. It's hard to do better than this, really. Until we like get more Greymon decks that don't rely on tie, I don't see us getting another like dedicated Agu searcher for Greymon, because this guy's just so good. And then all turns, of course, you get the inherit to plus 1k DP for if you have Grey or Omnimon in name. So pretty good there. Jumping on to 4s, run 3 copies of the old BT-9X antibody Greymon, just protection. It's, you know, it's an old card, just you strip 2 to the same level. So it's just good to have it there in case you don't want to strip your proto form. 3 copies of the old ST1 Greymon for the Sec plus 1 inherit. Just, you know, it's just, we want that Sec plus 1. We want to do as much damage as possible as fast as we can. You kind of play this a little bit like the Wargrey OTK deck that was going around a little bit during like BT-21 days and stuff. That, like, it didn't get too much traction because it was a red stack deck that has not the greatest search pieces. So like, you know, it's just a bit tough. And you have to really see like the full line to be super explosive. It's not like Gallant where like you can miss a couple of pieces and still just be insane because all of your power's on the top end. You really are reliant on each piece of your stack for Greymon decks. So that's why they're like, you know, they typically tend to brick a bit harder which, you know, this deck does the same thing. It is a Greymon deck, but you have like some really good tools to help control the board state now a bit more. And your top end is really, really fun to play with. Jumping on to the next one copy of the limited BT-11 Greymon X, the virus one. The protection that it offers isn't super important. It's mostly just for their cost reduction for the Evo, to make it so that we can go into our Rise Grays for one. It's overall, like, you can use the protection if you want, but typically you don't want to get rid of Protoform all the time, unless, like, it, you know, keeping the stack on board is the difference between winning the game and not winning, right? So it's just, like, iffy there. Typically, these inherits pair best with the BT-9 X Antibody option, because Protoform's just so valuable staying in the stack. So it's mostly just there for the Evo cost reduction, but you can still utilize the protection if you want to use it in that way. So just really, really nice to have the option there. And then closing out level 4s, we run 2 copies of the BT-12 Greymon. This is just a free means of dropping tie. Really good combos for like Greymon decks. And this is like old bread and butter, is like Evoing Agu in the back, dropping a Searcher Agu like turn 1, and then turn 2, you just like set up a little bit if you can, and then Evo the Agu in the front to just go into like that Greymon and drop a tie, and then hopefully like choke your opponent to 1 or something like that. And then when memory swings around, you know, you can hopefully put them in a good spot. Oh, I got rid of the deck. Don't mind all of these other decks that you're about to see. Whoopsie. That's fine. That's okay. I'm not going to edit that out because it's funnier to see me make mistakes and then laugh at me. Anyway, so yeah, that's why we run that there. And that's it for that. We run 9 level 4s total. Because of all the option cards that we're running for consistency and cost reduction stuff, and then the Tamers we're running to have the protections and other things that we want, it's just hard to run like the full line of things. You could maybe kind of trim down in some spots to try and make room for it, but then you heard out on like search consistency, which this deck is like, if you find the piece, it's nice, but if you don't have the pieces to build to that one, it feels really, really bad. So you really want search and Greymon decks. It's kind of a hard game of balance that you have to play. Jumping into 5s, run 7 total. 4 copies of the brand new Rise Greymon. It's really, really good. So it has raid inherently, which is nice. On Evo, if you have one of your Tamers from your hand without paying the cost, you can play 1 red or black Tamer with a play cost of 4 or less, or 1 Tamer card with CS trait. So this lets us drop our ties and our Yukos. Typically, we're going to drop our Yukos off of this. Has Sec +1 for an inherit, so it's really, really good. But it's just a solid card, just a really solid piece. I like it better than the other Metal Grays right now for this type of deck. You can still run things like the new EX9 Metal Gray with like Ultras to like do some other really cool like board control shenanigans and stuff like that. But to me, I want to try and generate as much Tamer advantage as possible to give myself more DP, more memory to work with, and everything else. So I just want as many resources to work with as possible. So that's why I'm running it like this. You could probably do a split of things too, but you might hit some inconsistencies there. And then moving on from him, closing out level 5s, we run 3 copies of Rise Gray X. I know we haven't really seen this card. It's not used in Shine either at all. But it's weirdly really, really good for this deck. So for those who don't know, this card was really, really good back like during like yellow hybrid like days. And it was like good during like old like Shine Gray shenanigan stuff. But on Evo, you can play 1 red or yellow Tamer card from your hand without paying them its memory cost. It doesn't care how many Tamers you have on board, so you can drop either your ties or your Yukos. So it's just another free Tamer play. And then if you have Rise Gray X Antibody in your sources, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 2,000 DP for each red or yellow Tamer you have in play for the turn. So it just gives Greymon access to DP reduction. And then for each Tamer you have in play, you get +1 KDP. That typically doesn't matter. You're never really going to be swinging with Rise Gray X unless you're stuck and you can't find your Gaiomons, which has happened to me before, right? You know, breaking is a game mechanic. But it's just really, really nice to get the extra Tamer out so you can get the extra tie out there for the extra Sec +1, getting the Yuko out there for the extra memory gain, or if you want to save it for your opponent's turn in case your opponent has access to things like Raid to try and swing over you, because you're typically, you don't have the biggest DP boost lingering into your opponent's turn. So when opponent's turn comes around, at most, you'll typically be like 15k, which is a high number, but because of how high things climb nowadays, especially things with Raid, that's a baby number, basically. So yeah, so just a really nice, like, fun tech piece that you can run in there that kind of catches your opponent off guard. My black base variant runs just like Ultras and Rise Gray, which is like another thing you can do as well if you just want to have like the potential of like free level 6 Evos, along with the ability to play out Tamers. You can customize things how you want. We have so many different Greymon pieces now. You can be very, very expressive with how you want to do the build. Jumping to level 6s, we run 4 copies of the brand new Gaiomon. This card is so cracked. It's so good. So it has Raid and Reboot, which is really, really nice. On Evo, you may unsuspend one of your opponent's Digimon, and then you may attack. So you instantly can set up your opponent's Digimon for the raid. So, you know, you don't have to do it like this. There's rarely few instances where it'll matter, to be honest. It really just comes up because you want the redirect to get your piercing and plus 5k. So if you're really wanting to like control your opponent's board while simultaneously, you know, doing security damage, and maybe like your opponent's Digimon is just too big of a DP to climb over while it's suspended, you can unsuspend it and then swing at it, and then its all turns effect. It's once per turn. When attack targets change, you gain piercing and plus 5 KDP for the turn. So you instantly shoot up to 18k. You know, if you have any other DP boosting inherits, you're instantly going to go to like, you know, 20k here. You can potentially go like 20, 21k just right off the bat from there. And that's not including Yuko's buff as well. So it's just really, really powerful to have that option. And it's just good. It's a good card. It's just genuinely a really good card. And it can evo for 4 over level 5 with Greymon in name. So, you know, your Rise Gray X and your Rise Grays are both valid targets to go for 4 over, which is really, really nice. The other play that I personally prefer to do is going into EX4 Gaiomon first. And so this guy can go over a red or black level 5 for 4 cost. This was back during EX4 days, so this is before they had the split bubbles, and they didn't have as... I don't even know if they had black text, like Evo boxes yet in EX4. I don't think they did. At least not for, like, cutting stuff like that. But anyways, it's been a minute. So both it and the other Gaiomon count as having Greymon in their name. It's just a rule for them, so just something to keep in mind. So they get all the effects that says, you know, as long as the Digimon has Greymon in name, you know, yada yada. You know, you get the protections, you get the DP boosts, you get the draw one, everything. Gaiomon is basically Gaio Greymon. Like, that's a good way to kind of maybe rule it in your brain. So on Evo, he deletes something with a play cost of 13 or more on your opponent's side of the board, which can be really, really helpful because there's a lot of big guys out there nowadays. But if you don't delete anything by this effect, you trash the top card of your opponent's security stack. So keep in mind, too, if they do have that big body out there and they protect it, like let's say you try and pop an Omni X and they use Last Guardian, then you'll trash security instead. All it sees is that as long as nothing was deleted via that effect, you trash the top card of your opponent's stack, or security stack, sorry. And then end of your turn, if you have a Tamer in play, which that's why we run so many Tamers, we want to make sure that we have those Tamers hitting the board, and we have plenty of free Tamer play to get there. You can Digivolve this Digimon into one card with Gaiomon in its name and a play cost of 13 or more in your hand, ignoring its Digivolution requirements and without paying the cost. So this lets you go into the brand new Gaiomon from 22, you can go into the promo, you can go into the one from BT9. You have all these different cards available to you to go into that are all really, really impactful. BT9 Gaiomon is still a really good aggressive piece, by the way. Being able to blitz and D-Digi with Sec +1 and reboot is really, really good. The promo Gaiomon is really good. I think it'll be a lot more valuable once we get the brand new Greymon and Metal Greymon from EX10, like I was talking about those cards before. Because it just pairs better with their strategies in terms of like DP boost lasting over to the opponent's next turn, unsuspending or attack targets changing rather, and having Greymon in name to trash security. It's just very, very impactful in that sense. So I think that card will we'll see a lot of value once we get those new pieces. But this version, we just want to be aggressive. We just want to be aggressive, swing over bodies, and chip for a lot of damage. If we aren't swinging over bodies to chip for a lot of damage, then we're still a decently large fella, just chipping for a bunch of security checks. So this Gaiomon will let you Evo into this Gaiomon for free. Then you'll get the one Digivolving effect and everything else, which is really, really nice. And on top of that, you'll possibly trash your security, so you just do more damage for yourself. Obviously, you might miss out on some DP, but you can easily get Sec +3 on him just from the Greymon and Rise Gray alone. That's not including however many Tai Kamiyas you have on board. So if you get even one Tai on board, you know, you'll trash one security, then swing for 4 checks. And then if you found the Omni X, you go up for game there. So just a really good card, really, really, really cool. I like the whole strategy with how he works with the other Gaiomon, so I hope that we can utilize him more with the rest of the cards as time moves on. Last Digimon of the deck, level 7, Omni X. I'm not going to linger on him, just raid piercing blocker. Big guy, me delete board, me end of turn, can swing without suspending and rush. Cool beans. Just this card's insane. Card is absolutely nuts. It is a crazy card. Jump into Tamers, run 3 copies of Tai Kamiya. Just memory setter, Sec +1 if you have a red Digimon with 4 or more sources. So just really, really good. Just, you know, in its stacks, so each tie you have on board gives you extra Sec +1 for your stack that has 4 or more Digivolution cards. And all of your Digimon are red. So even when you're Omni X is still red. It's not like old Blitz Omni stuff where you lose the Sec +1s and everything from the tie. No, you keep everything. So you'll every time ties you have on board, plus your inherits, your Omni X can swing for that many checks and everything else. So there's some times where if you keep turn, you can just Evo into Omni X and then just like end of turn swing and do things, or you know, like save it for like whiteboard, next turn swing for everything else. Like there's crazy combos. There's so many ways to just wipe your opponent's board and just blow out security. It's a nutty card. And then Yuko Kamishiro, brand new Tamer from BT-22. She's really good. So security plays without paying the cost, of course. You don't care about the inherit. You can run Eater Eve in this deck as like a cheeky hybrid for game type thing. I don't necessarily recommend it, but you can do that. It's funny when you do it, and the card's good. Eater Eve is a good card. You just don't have any way of like, there's no consistency with it in this deck really. But start of your main phase, if your opponent has a Digimon, you gain a memory. And then all turns when attack targets change, you can suspend this Tamer for the turn. Your opponent's Digimon effects don't affect one of your Digimon with Greymon in its name or the CS trait, and it gets +3 KDP. So keep in mind that's just whenever attack targets change, right? So if something's blocked, something's redirected, if something raids, whatever. Collision will also proc this as well. You know, any sort of redirection that happens. So you can use this Tamer to go ahead and suspend her, give your stack a boost to +3k, and make it immune to Digimon effects, which can be really important. The Digimon effect protection, just flat out immunity, being offered by a Tamer, you know, is huge, because Tamers still have, you know, fairly little interaction. There's definitely a lot more than there used to be, but you know, they're still mostly, you know, untouched typically. So Yuko's just a really good card for that. We don't care about the inherit; just only works with Eater Eve basically. You know, with attack targets changes and give it with attack targets changing and giving +3k, but we don't care about that. So, but yeah, so just gives you a means of buffing your stack, giving your stack protection. Gaiomon sets himself up with the raid and piercing, so you can restand something, swing, go ahead and use his effect to give the piercing and +5 KDP. Use your Yuko effect to go ahead and give yourself another +3k and Digimon effect protection. So even if your opponent tries to ace you, it won't matter. You're just going to be, you know, +8k right there. So you're already 21 base swinging over something, which is enough to swing over pretty much everything in the game. Unless like your opponent gets like a massive Magna X stack or something like that. Those are typically the only things that like will climb higher and will stay higher during opponent's turn. There's a couple of other Digimon as well that can do it. Like Tyrant can kind of do it. Things like Jessmon can do it as well, potentially. But Jessmon typically just kills you nowadays. So that's how it goes. Moving on from there, moving to options, run one copy of Red Scramble just for in case we need it. Mostly to save ourselves from deck out for the longer games, really. But just, you know, that nice ability kind of just Evo for 3 instead of 4 to help keep turn can make the difference in winning or losing a game sometimes. And being able just to spit something out from trash is really good. It's just hard to find room for more scrambles. Like maybe you could cut down on a training or something like that, or a tie, or maybe a Yuko. To go ahead and like add a second one in there, but so far one's felt fine. I don't feel like I need more. If anything, it's just this deck suffers mostly just from being a Greymon deck and just maybe not always seeing all of its pieces as fast as I would like to see them, but that's not something you can really fix with how these stack decks typically want to work nowadays. But yeah, so that's the idea there. Run 4 copies of training, search, evo reduction, really good. 2 copies of Hades Force, busting out the old faithful. You can use Protoform to go into Rise X for 0. You can use it to go into your Gaiomons for 3 rather than 4. You can use it to go down the X. You know, so you can get Protoform in the stack fairly easy to make Hades Force only a 5 cost instead of a 7 cost, which is huge. And then, you know, you choose any number of your opponent's Digimon or Tamers whose combined play costs are less than or equal to the play cost of one of your Digimon with Greymon in its name. And you delete all those chosen cards. Then one of your Digimon with Greymon in its name may attack a player. So this option just does it all. So even if you pass turn, you know, even if you don't have blitz or anything like that, you can still get the attack off that could potentially win you game. I've used this card multiple times to clear boards of blockers and stuff like that, and then just be able to swing for game if that was like the one thing stopping me. And just having an option card that can blow up like 3, sometimes 4 Tamers is just huge nowadays. There's so much Tamer play, and so many decks are so reliant on their Tamers. Hades Force is massive. A lot of people maybe aren't super familiar with it because it hasn't been relevant in the meta since like, man, BT-13 maybe, even before. It was kind of falling off. Like it came out in 11 and it was starting to fall off after 12 immediately because 13 just the game picked up with Shine Gray stuff. But yeah, the option doesn't run too much anymore, but I think we're going to see a lot of it after EX10 with all the new Black War Gray support. So for anyone who's new and hasn't done Black War Gray stuff before, get ready for it. And if you play a Tamer heavy deck, God bless you. I'm praying for you. I'm praying for you. But yeah, it's a really good card. And then out of security, it deletes one of your opponent's Digimon with the highest play cost, which is also just a bonus. Like just being able to just pop a big body with an option card out of security is huge. So yeah, it's really effective. It's only really good when you have a stack on board. So there is some limitation there, which is how it's balanced, I think. But being able to give yourself Digimon effect protection for the turn now, and then have this option still accessible is really, really good. Makes it a lot more viable for you to do different plays with. And then closing out, just 2 Protoform. Like I was saying before, I already described what the card does. I was just more so giving the description to say that, hey, it's in the deck to let you get it in the stack so you can have those cost reductions, but also it makes your Hades Force cheaper. So it's really, really good there. Also, just being able to get pieces back in a deck that's so piece reliant is just really important. So that way you can more efficiently build the next stack, or if you were missing a piece in hand, you can actually build the next stack if you needed that piece. So it's just good there. But yeah, that's the deck. That's everything we got there. Nothing too crazy. The black base, if you guys are interested in that, just ping me in the Discord. I'll post it in there. I'm not going to do a whole video on it. It's nothing like too crazy different. It's just DP boosts or memory gain whenever attack targets changed, or like DP boost that lasts all turns, but it's a smaller boost, so it doesn't do as much. But it is really fun to play and mess around with sometimes. So that's going to be it. Thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, again, don't forget to subscribe. Give the video a like. We appreciate you guys supporting us, and we'll catch you on the next one. Okay? Bye-bye.